Hey, how are you? Welcome to the Entrepreneur Experiment podcast with me, Gary Fox. Today we're bringing back one of our most popular guests, Mr. Rob Lipsett. We're recording live from our Marbella studio. Rob is a new breed. He's financially free, location free, and time free. We break down that entire model in today's episode. Here's my chat with Mr. Rob Lipsett.
Today's episode is brought to you in association with Square. Over 4 million companies, from local shops to international chains, use Square to take payments, manage staff, and do business in-store and online. For almost everything your business needs, visit square.com. Square International Limited, trading as Square, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
I've got a massive ambition for this podcast. I want to make this the #1 business podcast in the world. If I'm going to do that, I've got to be world class on every single level. And that includes having a world class studio, which I now have at iconic offices, the Green Room. It's an incredible space. I first recorded here with my live pod back in June and I loved it. And get this, it's publicly bookable. That means you can go online and book it right now. As I said, it's called the Green Room. It's a private cinema and screening room. That means it's perfect to wow a client with a pitch, host a private screening, or do what I do, record a podcast here. So, as I record here, and as you know, I'm a member of Iconic Offices, I've got the team at Iconic Offices to hook us up with a number of exclusive complimentary office trials and discounts for my audience for booking this exact space. No catches. Simply go to the web link in the description, grab the offer that works best for you. Thanks, Iconic Offices. The Wealth Summit is on the RDS on November 15th. It's for entrepreneurs, business owners, and those that aspire to be. If you're at the startup, scale-up, or sell-up stage of the entrepreneurial journey, then the Wealth Summit is for you. Learn how to build personal and business balance sheets through business growth strategies and build out critical paths to financial independence. Join Stephen Bartlett, Niall Quinn, Mandy Hickson, Tom Gannon, and 30 other speakers for a day of empowerment, motivation, education, growth, and networking. And we have an exclusive offer for listeners of the pod. For €150 plus VAT, you're going to get a discounted Access All Areas ticket, which also gives you access to the Wealth Tribe lunch, and it gives you a free masterclass on November 16th on how you can actually implement AI into your business. It doesn't even end there. The first 10 people to sign up by September 15th will get a ticket to the 10X Growth Camp in Luttrell Sandcastle on September 29th, where you'll deep dive into business growth strategies, financial growth strategies, and AI implementation for growth. So click the link below to avail of this incredible offer.
Rob, welcome back to the pod.
Wow, feels good to be back.
I'll start. Oh, welcome to the pod. Welcome back. You're one of the few, I think it's only 1 or 2 people that have ever been back.
Oh, man, I'm an OG. I'm a famous alumni.
And it's 2 years almost to the day since we chatted.
Yeah. No way. And that was in Dublin was that like a studio or office space?
It was a friend of mine's office space. That's the evolution. We'll talk about your evolution, my evolution. That was a friend of mine's office space. He's like, oh, you can use the office space. It's weird to think that was just kind of the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
And I was still trying to figure out, is it going to be remote? Is it going to be in person? That was an office space that we just kind of cobbled together for the day. And now we're back, but we're not back in Dublin.
Yeah.
Back in Marbella.
We made it. We're hitting the big leagues now.
This is
Marbella.
it, right?
Yeah.
So talk to me, right? We're going to start there. Give me a quick recap on the last kind of 2 years. Because when we met last, Fuel Cakes was kind of just launching. You'd moved out here at that time, had you?
I can't even remember.
I think, because I wrote in the description, Rob lives between Dublin, London, and Marbella. I think you were just about to.
Yeah. So basically, 2 years ago, 2020, I moved to London, just like every Irish person does at some stage. They go out to London, do a bit of networking and just live there. Had a great year, despite COVID happening, which really just it was like a life reset for everyone, really, just completely turned everything upside down. But funny enough, London was actually quite a fun place to be in 2020. Like everyone was in the parks and not taking things too seriously. So I had a great year, Mr. Positive. I had a great year. But with that said, gyms kept getting open and closed, restrictions coming and going, and paying crazy London rent for a semi-lockdown city. So my lease in London was like January 1st to January 1st, 2021. And then 2021, on the 1st of January, gyms in Dublin still closed. So I was like, I'm not going back there if I can't work out. I can't, document progress.
It's your job, right?
It's my job. I can't work. Simple as. London, they were closed. So I said, where in Europe has sick gyms, great weather, is in the EU, direct flights to Dublin, pretty much English speaking, entrepreneurial community, great lifestyle, great food. And when you actually chalk all them down, Marbella is the only spot.
Did you get the whiteboard out?
Yeah, I did. I did. I was like, this is calculated. I was like, Linda, where are we going? And so we ended up getting like an Airbnb for a month or two in Marbella and just kept extending it.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh, this is a perfect base. And now you've places like this, you've podcast studios coming up here. So if you're in the line of work that we do, it's just an ideal place to base yourself out of. So
I need to go back and start the pod with a massive congratulations to you and Linda.
Oh man, thank you. I think this is the first podcast I've done since then.
There we go. We got the scoop.
It actually is. Yeah, we're yet to even do one ourselves. Like we're gonna, me and Linda are gonna do one on the game plan. But this is the first podcast I've done.
Congrats, man. Tell me about it.
So it's a good feeling. Like it's like having a constant warm hug. It's like I'm growing up as well. So we've been together 5 years now since 2018. Actually, October, it'll be 5 years next month. Okay. Exactly. And so, been going out for 5 years. I'm 31 now. My main motivation was like, I want to make a family, like a nice, sturdy family. I think like, I love Linda, she's amazing. But I think with marriage, it's like getting the government involved. It's like, there's not much point to it, Like I see a lot of cons to it. I see a lot of arguments against it. But if you want to start a family and bring kids into like a stable, glue-tight relationship, I think it's a good thing.
So you thought this through, right?
Oh yeah, calculated as always.
Okay.
And so I'm 31 now. I want to be a young father, start pumping out some Rob Lipsett Juniors in the next couple of years. And so I felt like the time was right. We were doing a little tour off the Amalfi Coast. We went around Positano and Capri. And I said, this is like, I don't know when I'll be in such a beautiful place.
Had you planned it out to that moment? Because you seem like a planner. You're a planner.
So, completely.
Because I was like, I saw the announcement. I was like, he planned that to the angle, to the moment.
Yeah, exactly. So there was like 2 times. I was either going to do it in Positano or in Capri. And I was like, if I do it at the start of the holiday, we'll be in a great mood for the whole thing. But then I was like, I also want to leave a little bit of suspense. So I did it like on the 3rd day.
Do you reckon she knew?
No, she actually had no idea. I could tell by her reaction. And I'd also like... Yeah, she always mentions it to me, like, when we get married.
One day.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, maybe like, when we get the house done, maybe when this happens. So I kept like pushing it back and playing it cool. And it was a genuine surprise. I had the ring box is huge, so I couldn't have it in my pocket. So I had to.
I was going to ask you this because I did the same. We went to Barcelona and I was like smuggling heroin. It was like stashing it. I can't even remember where I hid. I think I might have hidden it in a sock. In my runners.
Mine was in the runners.
Yeah.
So I was like, and the night before we left, she's like, "Hey, do you want hand packing?" I was like, "No."
I'm very particular
step
about
away
this.
from that. And so I just said, as couples do, you prop up a tripod to take photo because who wants to put any other human through photo couple taking duties?
One more. Sorry,
exactly.
John. Sorry,
the
I know you're having your
like,
dinner.
can I please just clock off? So we're nice human beings, so we put a tripod through that instead. So we had a tripod set up. We were taking some photos, and I go, "Oh wait, I've something that'll make this photo way better." And she thought I was going to get an Aperol spritz or something, and I just came back out with the ring. Yeah, so
well, you've got the ultimate cover, right? Yeah. Anyone else is like, they're going away on holidays. This might be it.
Yeah,
this might be it. I remember we were doing every break we go on. It'd be like, this could be the one, huh? Like there's a lot of pressure, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you've got this like you're hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, exactly. And another good one why she didn't see coming is like I've always got the tripod out. I've always got the camera. So she's like, just another photo or video for YouTube. Then I was like, no, this one's different.
So you're still in that was like what, 2 weeks ago?
Oh yeah, exactly.
So you're still in the buzz of it.
Exactly.
It's special.
I'm trying to like get back to real life now. This week I had just a good week of work, concentration, deep work. Okay. But the last 2 weeks before that, we're having fun.
You got it all right.
Yeah.
I've got a theory about you, Rob.
Yeah, go on.
I think COVID exposed you that you figured it out.
Yep.
You figured it out. Location independent, financial independent, and work independent. So you're not dependent on any of those things for your happiness or for your future. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So I completely agree, but I've got that down for the last 6-7 years way before COVID.
Exactly.
And I hate to be an I told you so guy, but I always said like this is the way. Like this is ideally what most people want in terms of life setup. And then when COVID happened, my life didn't even change. I was like, oh, sweet, just gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
This is what I want to talk to you about, because you've been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
Whereas I think 2020, the one thing that shocked me was suddenly everyone woke up. Suddenly was like, wait, why am I doing this? Why am I here? And all the conversations I'm having, people now are like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to go back to that job. Don't think I'm going to go back to Dublin. Don't think I'm going to do this anymore. How did you figure that out?
So I looked at other people's lifestyles that I wanted to replicate. Guys like Max Tuning, Christian Guzman, a lot of Americans who are doing fitness YouTube, and they're getting to just not be location dependent. That was the main thing. One thing I love, I think it was Hormozy who said this. He goes, okay, you've got a motivation that you're running towards, but what are you running away from? And I think that's actually a bigger motivation. So with me, I hated my 9-to-5. I hated the whole lifestyle surrounding it. I hate how it would just determine my entire day. I hated that so much, and I was honestly so depressed. Like genuinely, I had this nihilistic view of the future. I was like, is this it? Is this going to be the rest of my life? And I just said, I need to figure out a way for my life, my day-to-day life schedule, not to be like this. So that's what I'm running away from, is that monotony that I just hated so much. A lot of people like it, and that's fine. That's more than fine. But if you don't like it, then the power is in your hands to change it. So that was my biggest motivation, to just get out of a day-to-day schedule that I hated.
It's a great point, though. You either are running away or running towards.
Yeah.
The running towards is harder because what do I want? We're all trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
What am I going to be when I grow up? Everyone's still figuring that out. That's the secret, right? I talk to successful people every single week, and they're all kind of going, yeah, I'm just not sure, what's next? I'm not sure. But I think that's the growth mindset of the entrepreneur as well. They're never like, that's it. Here we
Never
are.
done.
Because they don't have the 9-to-5. They don't have that kind of like, oh, when I get this, I'll be happy. They're always, what's over the hill? What's next? What am I going to do next? So when you figure that out, it's deep though. It's deep in you. It's deep from school. It's deep in you, that 9-to-5. Get up in the morning, have your breakfast, go to a venue, sit there for 8-9 hours, come home, sleep, eat, go to the venue.
Yep.
How did you break that though?
So what I did in the very few hours outside of that, I call it the transition period. What I did when I was like trying to get out of the rat race. I don't want to call that like, because maybe it's a little bit derogatory to rats, but it's just that it's just what people call it. So I had the 9-to-6 job. I would drive home 6 to 7, traffic. And then between 7 and 8, I'd like go to the gym. Then 8 to 9, I'd have dinner. And then between 9 and 2 a.m., I'd be doing training plans for clients. I'd be putting together some Lipsett fitness, packaging clothing, had a little, clothing brand then. I'd be editing YouTube videos. I'd be learning health and fitness research, researching what topics I'm going to talk about next on Facebook. That was it at the time. So between 9 to 2 were like the hours where I would make life progress in terms of getting away from the rat race. And then when I had work, I'd sleep for like 5-6 hours. Terrible. We'll talk about sleep later on the podcast, I'm sure. And then when I got into work, again, this sounds kind of bad, but I would just be trying to, do my own thing on my laptop. And so, when the day I went into my boss and I was like, I'm finally going to go full time with health and fitness in the fitness industry, he was like, thank God. Because he would catch me loads, like just doing training plans or writing an ebook. There was another thing I was doing, and like setting up my website, lipsettfitness.com, still going. And he would catch me the whole time. And I was like 21 at the time. So like, do you ever look at a picture of yourself when you're 21? You're like, whoa, you're a baby. Like you look like a kid.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, imagine this man coming into me and just seeing like 21-year-old Rob, like just little kid. Like you'd just be like, oh God, can I even give out to this fella?
Well, at least fair play to him as well.
Yeah. Oh no, he was actually super cool. When I left, like he was like, oh yeah, go on. He was chill about it. So yeah.
But how have you molded this? Because you've evolved. I want to talk about your evolution as an entrepreneur as well, because you have evolved a lot, right? How has that evolution happened? Has that been strategic? Obviously, you're moving into a new stage of your life now.
How do you think about that as a creator, as an entrepreneur? Because you're about to get married, you're about to have a family. How do you think about that?
So the evolution, I don't think it's something that I've purposely gone to seek out. I think it's just like you learn as you go. And I like what you said there. You were talking about other entrepreneurs and they're like, oh, I don't know. Everyone's just winging it. Oh, that's what I've realized. That's a huge lesson I've learned, that everyone is just winging it. Even if you see someone who feels they're so in control of their life and they have it all figured out, they really don't. Nobody does. So I'm just learning as I go along. And I'm not like actively like being like, oh, this is going to be the next phase of my life. I'm going to focus on this. I'm just taking every day as it comes and, evolving as a person through whatever life throws at me.
This is what I'm trying to figure out at the minute, right? I'm a planner, very like you. Plan my quarters, plan my days, plan my weeks. How do you manage that friction between being a planner and doing that? Because never does it work that you're like, here's the straight line to the goal. And we know that, we're smart people. We know it's not a straight line to the goal, but you have to be going somewhere. Without a destination, there's no journey.
Yep.
So how do you manage that friction between being a planner, but then being open enough to see opportunity?
So I plan like my day to day, my week to week very accurately. I'll write out everything. I'll write out how things want to go. And I'm big into visualization to the point where I believe if I write something down in the future, it almost always ends up happening. It's honestly crazy. I'll write something down, say, I want to have this achieved on this date, and I won't even look at it. I'll forget about it. But the fact that I've got that physically written down out there, it always ends up happening. It's crazy. It's like seeing a ghost. It's wild. Like, because every day I'll look in my planner and then I'll come to that page and I'll be like, oh my God, I wrote this down months ago and it's done. So it's crazy.
But that obviously triggers. I think a lot of people forget the part, what comes next.
Yeah.
They forget the work part.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Red Ferrari. Yeah. But they forget that, but Rob then came in the next day and grafted for 10 hours.
Yeah.
Then he did the same thing. I'm big on compounding.
Yeah.
I'm big on compounding and accountability. Turn up every day, do a little bit. Turn up every day, do a little bit. That's the bit. So how do you do that? How do you join the dots from, okay, on this date, I want to have this achieved, to back to today?
Yeah. So again, I'll plan everything out, but I won't take it too seriously. If something doesn't happen, it's all right. We go again. So the way I actually organize my goals and my to-do list and everything is in order of importance and a kind of rolling routine. So let me explain. I'll write down like 10 things I need to get done that day. And the first 3 are like amateur hour. So
we'll edit that out.
Yeah. So I'll write down 10 things that I need to get done that day. The first 3, 100% getting done. Okay. 4, 5, 6, most likely getting done. 7, 8, 9, 10. If I don't get them done, it's all right. And I just roll them on to the next day. Okay. And then they become the number 1 priority. So it's kind of like a rolling list, and that's how I basically get shit done.
But this is a trait of all elite entrepreneurs I've talked to. They have a very clear plan on what needs to get done that day, and they're able to focus, deep focus.
Yeah.
How do you deep focus? Because I think we live in a world now that's immensely distracting.
Yeah.
Oh my God, especially the work you do and the work I do. You're online a lot. You're constantly moving to the next thing. How do you deep focus? Because that is something for 2023, that ironically is one of my focus points where I'm like, I need to be able to drop in, deep focus, 45 minutes. When I'm on, I'm on. When I'm off, I'm off. How do you do it?
So, first of all, I think people being able to work 8, 9 hours a day, like deep focused work, bullshit for most people, not going to happen. So I'm realistic with myself. I say, look, if I need to really concentrate on something, I'm going to give it 3 hours.
But
okay?
Rob, you need to hustle grind 24/7, man.
I know, and I'm here just like 3 hours.
I do 4 45s.
Yeah, okay, nice.
Yeah.
So I'll do that first thing in the morning. I'll wake up, take, vitamins, nootropic formula, caffeine, hydrate, all that good stuff. And then I'll get straight into work. Usually my best hours are 7 to 10, okay? And my number 1 on the list, whatever that may be, that's getting done then, okay? And then after that, we'll do the rest on the list, but I'll just prioritize one thing and I'll do it in the hours that I work best at, which is 7 to 10 when the world is quiet. We're an hour ahead here, so, no one's hitting me up yet.
It's like we're living in the future.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, and when you're in Dubai, you're 4 hours ahead. It's peace. It's absolutely fantastic. But so I'll just do it in the morning. I'll block the time off, put the phone away, just get the laptop work done, whatever it needs to be done. And that's it. They're my deep focus hours. So find your deep focus hours that you find it easily to do. You know, some people like working in the evening. Some people like working at night. Not into that, wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
But like it works for some people. So just find out when it works for you, when you can put in those 45 minutes or those 3 deep focused hours and just get it done.
I think people don't want to be honest with themselves either. They don't want to go, oh, well, 4:45s is okay because, well, I should be hustling and grinding, all days, all night. I read great Nathan Barry, the founder of ConvertKit. He writes a great newsletter and he talked about 4 quarters of your day. 6 to 10, 10 to 2, 2 to 6, 6 to 10. And he has his deep work, then he has his family time, then he has his admin time. And I was like, that's it. You break your day into quarters, and then you have your focus time in the morning, you have your time where you do your admin, your time where you do your podcast, and you have your family time.
Oh, like that's how it should be. And get this, okay? So funny story. I'm living in this apartment in Dunleary, and whatever way it was set up, it was kind of in a U shape. And so on this side, it was like residential apartments, and then the other side, it was offices. So I was up kind of near the top. And so I could see directly across into the offices, and it was quite small. So I could literally, I have great eyesight as well. So I could literally see what people were doing on their computers. And there was like a row of people, and every day they would go in and they were just constantly on their phones, on Facebook, on like YouTube, just wasting the boss's time for hours a day, like just chatting to each other. And that was the first time I realized that most people, when they think they're working 9 hours a day, they're doing fucking nothing. I saw it. And not just one of them. There was a row of like 6 people, and they were all just fucking around all day doing like maybe an hour's work, maybe 2. And that's the first time I would watch it like a creep, up top outside of windows drinking my coffee. I'm like, oh my God.
But you need to see it to believe it,
I
right?
couldn't believe it.
I talk about this in the pod all the time. This is why a big part of the reason why I do the pod is to inspire entrepreneurs just to start, because I think you have to see it to be it, right? You have to see Max, you have to see Christian, you have to see these people, because until then, you just don't know, right? Because you're programmed to do these things. And then you have to see it and go, they're no different than me.
Yeah.
Whereas
I love that.
this person over here is just like clocking in, clocking out, which you think is the correct thing to do.
Yeah, you think is a noble path.
He's got a good steady job. He's doing this, he's doing that. And I even see it now. People look at me and go, podcast, huh? Did you make a living from that? This happens to me all the time. And I used to be like, yeah, I bloody do. Whereas now I'm like, yeah, mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
I get to talk to great people every single week, and I can make a living from it. They're
the
like,
dream.
oh my God, all right, okay. But you can see it just like,
Yeah.
error,
Error 404.
error message, what? And the topic changes.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
that's mad. But I used to be like, I used to get all like defensive about it, because they were like, I can, yeah, I will.
Oh
And I'm
man,
sure-
I used to be so defensive. So just, I think like last week I put like a full day of eating and training up, and someone's like, imagine having the time to eat and train like this all day. What do you do for a living? And I just said, I've been unemployed for 8 years.
Yeah, mad, isn't it?
Yeah, I just like, yeah, that's it, sure.
But the comments people put up, oh my God. So we've started doing, obviously, video because we're here. But we put them across on TikTok, on Insta. Oh my Lord, the comments. We had a guy who's built an unbelievable wine brand. And this guy writes up, imagine being a grown man and being a wine expert. I'm like, yeah. But you're so tempted to go, yeah. Whereas now I don't engage ever.
No.
Never. I only had to engage once, and it was last week. Someone brought up like my gender balance on the pod, and I was like, okay, I have to address that, because they've kind of called my character into. Yeah. It was on LinkedIn as well.
Okay. Oh wow.
And I was like, okay, yeah, my gender balance is not where it is. Something I'm working towards, but just the way they phrased it.
Yeah.
And they hadn't listened to the pod. They just made a snap judgment, and of all things, it was a post about stats. I was like, I'm very transparent. I put up everything. Here's our listenership last month. Here's what we're doing. Here's what I learned that might be useful to you.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah. Always come from a helpful way.
I do, because I'm like, number one, I do it to be accountable, because I'm like, I need to hold myself accountable here, because it's very easy, you know yourself, to kind of go, yeah, it's a good month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Podcast went up a little bit. Whereas I put it up every month going, right, next month, we're going to see where we are. And I do that, and I'm like, look, here's what's worked for me this month. Short form videos popping off. Here's where you probably could do it. This is how you... And they took exception to that. Whereas normally I just don't engage.
Yeah.
Because the comments are
toxic. Do you just ignore them? I think we talked about this last time, but you just ignore?
Yeah, pretty much. Unless it's constructive criticism.
Yes.
Like I can always tell, even if it's a little bit cheeky, like, you know, if they're coming from a place of, you know, genuine curiosity, or it's like not, you know, just cursing and blinding, then I think it's good to, you know, reply, get as much replies done as possible and
feed that algorithm, baby.
Feed that
I always say that to
algorithm.
my wife. I'm like, let them comment. They're feeding the algorithm.
I know. I'm like, come on, let's go. But I think that's fine. But if it's just blatant craziness, unhinged, I'm like, oh, this is. I'm like, is this even a real person? Is this a bot? Like,
It's
it could
scary,
be.
though,
Is this
isn't it?
AI? Yeah,
It's kind of scary the way people
nuts.
kind of think they can talk to other people.
Yeah.
You're kind of going, you know, these are real people, right? Me and
I
Rob
know.
are real people. We're flesh and bone. We're sitting down here trying to put some good stuff out in the world. It's wild.
People have gotten too used to speaking to a screen, and they're not
Yes.
used to speaking to someone in real life and getting real life repercussions. You know, some people need no punch in the face if they said that's to someone
Fuck
in
around
person.
and find
Yeah,
out, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You know, and people have just gotten so comfortable in doing it, and it's crazy.
It's kind of scary. I love the remote work thing, but I think it's kind of dehumanized a lot of people. They forget that they sit in. It's kind of a bit toxic to kind of. We talked about coming into a studio like this. There's a buzz, right?
Ah, yeah.
There's nothing like sitting in front of
There's
you.
coffee.
There's coffee. There's energy. You know, there's like, okay, I'm on now. I'm out and I'm on. Whereas I think there's this kind of a bit of a weird culture of like, get up from bed. Your commute is 30 seconds. Sit down at the laptop. There's that side of things that I think is a little bit unhealthy.
Yeah.
And they live in an online world all the time.
Yeah, like, so of course I'm big into the remote living, not being location dependent. With that said, I do respect that whole, you know, camaraderie you get from an office and the commute and the daily routine and getting out of your house and going somewhere and speaking to other humans. Like, that's something that I do miss a lot of, and that's why I try to make sure to, you know, see my friends in person as much as possible and go to events and network with other people, because there are like weeks where I would get to Friday and I'm like, I have not talked to a single person in real life, which is not good. It's not healthy. Even that's why, like, getting out to go to the gym, you know, and seeing other people is so important, and getting out for walks and even like eating out in a restaurant or something, you know, because we're kind of like, especially after lockdown and all that, our home is like our little pod. Yeah. You know, you can work out from home. You get meal prep delivered. You, instead of going to the cinema, the movie, you just put on Netflix. You're in your little pod. You're like an ape in an enclosure.
You are, though. Like, it's a great point. I was only thinking about this yesterday. I was out for a walk, and I was like, we're all so self-sustained now.
Yeah.
You know, you're literally, and it's beautiful. Like, I build a home gym like yourself. You build a home cinema. You build all this stuff, and you're like, I literally would never need to leave the house.
I know.
Which is great in one way, because sometimes you just don't want to.
Yeah.
But also, it's a bit weird, because you just don't interact.
Yeah.
Or you do. You interact loads, but
Oh, stop.
on the phone.
Yeah.
How do you balance your screen time?
Oh, so my screen time's actually really low. Like, that's my biggest flex. That's something I'm very proud of. So I'm vast majority of notifications turned off. So people are like, "Oh, you're so slow to respond on WhatsApp or DM." I'm like, "Yes, that's on purpose." Like, I'm not checking my phone like every minute. So because with me, especially, you know, being on YouTube, Instagram, full time living for that, it could be so easy to take over your life.
But how do you not do it?
So turned off all notifications, and then after 6 p.m. there's you have like sleep mode and focus mode. So after 6 p.m. my phone essentially shuts itself off. Like, if someone calls me, it doesn't even ring. You know, like,
Okay.
I don't even. It doesn't make a noise.
Okay, so you have to
so
engage
after
with it if you
6
wanna see.
p.m.
Okay.
I'm completely gone. And then, so in the morning, this is one thing I do. I've tried going without it. So a lot of people say, don't go on your phone the moment you wake up. This is the first thing I do. I wake up, get the phone, do an hour or two of replies, and that's it. So I've tried doing the first hour of no phone, and it just builds up on me and causes me more stress and anxiety throughout the rest of the day. I've tried it. I understand it. It's probably the best for most people. But for me, I just get up, tackle it straight away. Replies, emails, texts, laptop, boom, done.
Eat the frog.
Eat the frog, exactly. Yeah, because I don't like it on my phone. You know, it gives me a headache, and from staring at it for too long, and you just naturally end up scrolling. Like, the apps pull you in some way, shape, or form. So doing these things like no notifications, phone shuts off after 6 p.m. You can do it every time you want. Are game changers.
Do you ever feel disconnected? Do you ever feel,
you've moved out to Marbella. You and Linda are building a life out here. Do you ever feel a bit disconnected from the wider world? Because you've moved a lot, and especially now as you're moving into a different stage of your life, you're putting down roots. You're going to have a baby Lipsett.
Yeah.
What do you ever feel a little bit isolated?
Definitely, and especially like during lockdown when like you had to do like a test to get on a flight and all that, and like traveling was just not even worth it in a lot of cases. But in the last year or so, I've made it kind of, not my mission, but I've purposely gone back to Ireland a good bit to touch base with family and friends. I spent the entire month in Ireland there. It was wasn't that great, to be honest. For a year, but it was good to go home and touch base and don't forget where you came from. But you can get easily disconnected. But especially when we were out here, there was times where I was like, oh shit, well, where the fuck am I? Like, what am I doing here? But yeah, so I do try to purposely, go see friends and family the most, as much as I can.
It is interesting now the world is kind of reopened again. Everyone's just like, travel.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
amazing. It blew our minds. So we're out here now for 6 weeks, and intentionally we did this to see what's it like.
Yeah,
what is it like to just
how you find it?
Disconnect. I love it.
Yeah,
man, it's just first 2 weeks bit out of balance.
Yeah,
because we had grafted for 5 years, got the house, got married, did all the things you're talking about, had a baby, and then we were like, right. We had missed out is a kind of a hard word, but like we'd put our heads down, and the last 2 years are really hard. And we were like, right, as soon as we get beyond this, as soon as we have our baby, we're going to travel. Yeah. Because people do the opposite. They're like, oh, settle down now. For us, that's not it though. Even during COVID, we're like, I want to be away. I want to be doing stuff. You've seasons in life, right? I think about this as seasons. Now we have literally a summer season whereby we're going to enjoy it. The sun is shining literally and figuratively in my head going, this is a new stage, a new chapter, turn the page. So we went away for as long as we could and came out here, and it's just...
I love that, by the way, is the way you're like, I prefer to travel this way. I'll go somewhere for a long period of time. Instead of like doing 6 1-week holidays throughout the year, I love going somewhere for like a month or 6 weeks, and like getting a gym membership and like doing a grocery shop.
Yeah.
Weird,
right?
Oh man, it's
first thing I did. I went to Real Paddle.
Yeah.
Went to Lidl.
Yeah. Oh man, you got to go Mercadona. Mercadona is ridiculous.
Mercadona up behind us, and I blend both.
Yeah.
I have different things in different places.
Nice.
Very specific. I like my Greek yogurt from Lidl. I like my pasta from Mercadona.
You're living my life.
But right.
So how have you found, like, okay, so for me, what is the biggest game changers? People go, why do you actually like Marbella? So for me is working out outside, sun, and then sea. I think that's like the healthiest thing you can do. Like I can feel my health improve from doing that. They're like, even eat a meal outside and like, beautiful fresh produce. I feel really healthy here.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. We arrived, traveled down, and after a couple of days, I was like, I just felt myself kind of loosening and just getting the sun in, getting the air. Like you said, it sounds simple, but it's not.
Oh, it's
most
not for Irish people.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
We do have a very unique climate in Ireland, put it that way. And I live beside the sea at home. I deliberately, purposely built the life I want. We moved out to Greystones. We live beside the sea. We have a very, very healthy life. Like we're outdoors a lot. But then you come here and you're like, you get up in the morning, you open up the shutters and you're just like...
Well, it's science, like to get vitamin D and sunlight in your system. Like, Andrew Huberman, one thing that I've actually only really learned about in the last year from him is, sunlight in the morning exposure, how it massively improved my sleep.
It makes sense when you think about it, but I never really had. Our lives have evolved to like, on the phone, we're in darkness, blah, 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 blah. We're inside a lot, like you said about the house. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you're essentially waking yourself up. Like if you're in Ireland, you wake up and you just, go to your office, which is pitch black pretty much. You're like not waking up. Why would your body wake up until it like gets sunlight, on your skin and your face? So it makes perfect sense, but it's something that I never really actually thought of. Like I always just thought, okay, I'm going to learn about training and nutrition.
Yeah.
They're the 2 pillars. But then there's all these other things like, sunlight exposure in the morning, getting electrolytes early on. A lot of it's in the morning. And it just all these other things that really complement your training and nutrition.
We're going to dig into that now. I think we'll go into the wider thing. But I think back to like when you're talking about 21. I think back to 21-year-old Gary. You're playing football like every single day at college, but you're eating absolute crap. You're going out in the beer. Like, you had the training part done, but the rest wasn't even. And we forget how quickly things have advanced. Now you have Huberman. You've access to every single bit of information out there. So talk to me about how your not schedule, but how your life has evolved just from the fitness side of things to recovery, sleep, nutrition. Talk to me about how you've evolved that.
So, great topic on information being readily available. So when I was, 17, 18, 19, getting into the gym, we had the worst information ever. We had cutandjack.com and simplyshredded.com. They were the two websites I would read to get bodybuilding advice. And it would be like Ronnie Coleman showing you his week of training, dieting, and you're like, yep. I'm going to do that.
That's it.
There was no wellness or no even studies cited or literature. It was Ronnie Coleman's like, yeah, buddy, got to get big. And we're all like, yes, which is kind of cool in a way.
It is.
How primitive it was and everyone's just trying to make some gains. But nowadays you've got literal college professors putting up 2-hour lectures. In HD. That wasn't widespread when I was first getting into the gym. So that's building a new age of super wellness robots, Superman kids, so the 20-year-olds and 21-year-olds of today's day and age are so much more well equipped with information than we were 10 years ago. So I find that really impressive, and even I'm learning more myself. So me back in the day was very primitive, but we got the job done. And then so in terms of my evolution, I would. Of course, I've always been weightlifting. That's been quite consistent my entire life. My diet, I used to follow, I still do, an if it fits your macros approach, which is, again, still the foundation of body composition, so fat loss and muscle gain. But now I'm into looking at certain vitamins and minerals and ingredients that will improve your overall life, increase your testosterone, improve your sleep, magnesium, for example, and, taking a little bit of more of a wellness approach to things. Because when you're young, you get away with anything.
But you get away with it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think that's why a big reason why you don't look into it is that you can get away with it.
Yeah.
You can get up tomorrow and you're like, well,
full
of
of
energy.
I used to not get hangovers. Hangovers.
When you think about it now, you're like, but Ireland has such a weird relationship with drink as well.
Crazy.
And it's only as I've got older, and I drink very rarely, maybe once, twice a year now.
Wow.
Yeah,
Very
but just
to say once, twice a month.
no, there's a big debate. Are you sober? Are you sober curious? Are you sober curious? That's a new
Sober
thing.
curious.
Someone said that to me, and I was like, Jesus, I've never heard that before. But there's a big, I think there's a lot of you either are or you aren't.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can be both.
Yeah.
You can, if it fits your macros, if it fits your lifestyle,
Yeah.
whatever it is, just do what it does for you. So take me through, what's new? What's Rob doing now that he wasn't doing 5 years ago?
In terms of
your nutrition, your recovery, what have you learned in the last 5 years that people listening can now implement? Because I think information is great, but I think there's so much of it that people just go,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just going to keep doing what I do.
Yeah.
I talk about it openly on the pod a lot. I get my bloods done every 6 months.
I just got mine done.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Best thing I've ever done.
So interesting.
But again, you're kind of looking at it going, this is so obvious. Why would you not get your bloods done? And every single time I talk about it, people are like, what's the story with this?
Yeah.
And I was like, get your bloods done.
Yeah.
It's so easy. But I'd say I've got maybe 200 messages about it. I'd say 10 people have done it.
Oh, of course. Because it is a bit of a ball ache, mentally, going in. It takes 15 minutes. So I went to Vita Care in Blackrock recently, a really good clinic, and the owner had a really good motto or thing. He was like, I want to make getting bloods as easy as getting your hair cut. You go in and out in 20 minutes.
That's
and
what
I was
I
like,
think.
that's a great selling point.
Exactly,
I'm like,
but that's how it has to be.
And it was. I went in, took the bloods, blood pressure, BMI, height, weight, and everything, and I was honestly out in 20 minutes. And then I got all my results in a really easy to read PDF in 48 hours later.
Actionable as well.
Yeah.
There's no point getting all these bloods going, what does this X77222 mean? I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Exactly, yeah. And it was recommendations on what to do. So everything was pretty much perfect.
Of course.
Yeah. There was, what was one? I had a little bit of inflammation And so, that's another thing. Okay, so, we want to learn about what I'm doing different now. So I wouldn't even worry about inflammation when I was a younger kid. But now I'm looking at like anti-inflammatory things like, fasting, ice baths, certain foods that cause inflammation. Obviously, alcohol and cigarettes are terrible for it. So, just researching into that, and that's just a new thing that I would really have paid no attention to. And also, if I didn't get my bloods done, I wouldn't have looked at that either.
I think the bloods is the next evolution. I am super bullish on bloods. Like, obviously everyone wears like a Whoop or an Aura. People are now in the mindset of, okay, more information, but I think they're also kind of going, I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
They're just like, I think we're about to see another quantum leap forward. You talked about fitness there.
Yeah.
Ronnie Coleman and the version 1. Okay, we've kind of probably gone to version 3 or 4 of like online fitness instruction and information.
Yeah.
But I think we're back at version like 0.01 for like what to do with it.
Yeah.
What do you do with your data? Where do you go? Like when I say about bloods, I'm like, well, why would you not? Like more information of like, you're walking around, you've no idea what's going on inside. How do I feel today? That's so subjective.
Yeah, like how do you look inside yourself? You know what I mean? It's like, did I have a bad sleep or are my bloods fucked?
Precisely, right? You're like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, why am I tired? Huh?
Yeah. They actually, the place I went to has like, you can select different packages to get, and one of the packages is called Tired All the Time package. So you get like certain things to assess your energy. It's crazy.
But everyone says that.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, I'm just tired all the time. You're like, that's not right, though.
I know, yeah.
You shouldn't be tired all the time. We have a new baby. We're tired all the time.
You're allowed.
That's a reason, right? So bring me back to the evolution in the last 2 years in terms of your business, right? Because, you have multiple revenue streams. And you broke it down for us the last time. Where are you sitting now? What is the majority of your focus time spent on?
Yeah, so the majority of my laptop time, I guess you can call it that, is client work. So one thing I don't think I was doing when we spoke last was high ticket coaching. So I've always done the app where, there's hundreds of users, sometimes depending on the time of the year can get over the thousands, like January, for example. And that's, I have a team automate that and, help people, give people customized training and nutrition programs, everything down to a T, even like, there's a lifestyle section, everything. That's for people that they just need the information and they'll go do it themselves. But then I also work with about maybe 15 guys at a time who need accountability. Okay. And that's usually like CEOs, like older guys who, they have like more disposable income and they just need to get the results. And so I work with like 15 guys on. That's been incredibly rewarding. And so with like, let's say someone buys my ebook or subscribes to my app, not everyone will follow through with it and get results.
Very few.
But very, very few. But well, get good enough percentage. But still, there's some people who drop off and who just don't have it in them. But with the high ticket, when you're working with like 15 lads, all my clients are men. It's just how my demographic is. When you're working with those 15 people, all of them get results. Literally 100%.
Why?
I think because they've made an investment. I think that's the main thing. And because you're dealing with someone one-on-one that you don't want to let down. So I think that's the main thing. I hired a coach for myself for my bodybuilding prep this year. And I was like, oh man, like Mike is his name. He's from Ireland. I was like, I don't want to have a shitty check-in and just
you don't have that awkward conversation.
Yeah, I don't want to have that awkward.
Hey Mike, how's it going? It's been a good week,
Yeah. We're 3 weeks out. Yeah, made no progress this week. You don't want that. So I think accountability is the biggest thing and the investment you make. So that's something I've started doing differently. And then I've hired.
Why though? Because
coaches.
everyone's trying to go, automate your life, automate this, AI that.
Yeah.
Why have you gone back the other way? Because you're zigging when people are zagging. And I always find it interesting to dig into that because you're a trend spotter. You spot trends coming early.
Yeah.
So you've zigged back to doing the high ticket one-to-one.
Yeah.
Why?
So I think things, like you said, come and go in waves. And so everyone launched an app in like 2018, 19, 20. And then maybe after lockdown, for whatever reason, people kind of circle back to wanting that human touch, that accountability.
Yeah.
And, and even a lot of my clients, like they're from the UK and Ireland, they'll do a weekend in Marbella and they'll be like, hey, I'm in town, can we train together? And I'm like, yes, and that's awesome as well. So I think people after lockdowns or whatever it may be, or after just being bombarded with constant apps and ebooks, want to just, a one-on-one thing. And so right now that's a big thing in the fitness industry. People are going back to just more, one-on-one coaching.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's a big trend to
Yeah.
kind of call out as well, because I think during lockdown it was great. You'd follow the live workouts, whatever, and it kind of kept you mentally connected. 'Cause I remember doing them, like people would be doing Instagram lives, and I'd be like, I liked just doing something to have a connection with someone, even if it was online, even if it was on my laptop. At 11 o'clock we're all going to work out. That makes no sense to work out at a specific time with someone on a screen.
Yeah.
But you just need that.
Exactly. You need a little bit of like schedule to your day.
Yeah, like we're doing an accountability challenge with the pod at the minute. I do them every couple of months. It's just a free thing I run. We've 65 people doing it every single day. 30 minutes exercise, journal for 5 minutes, and set 3 goals for your business.
Nice.
30 days compounding. It's unbelievable. Like, obviously everyone doesn't stick to it, but I make it specifically... Entry point is low. 30 minutes, anything you want to do. Just move. 3 goals. Any goals you want. Journal for 5 minutes. Journal on whatever you want. Here's 30 prompts. But that compounding, if you stack it up, even over 30 days, it's huge, the impact that can have.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever seen 75 Hard?
Yeah, a mate of mine, I think you might know him, Tom Arnold.
Oh, yeah.
He just did it.
Yeah, no way.
And he documented it all. And I was like, what was that like, man? He goes, it is hard. He's like, the water was the hardest thing.
Oh, really?
He was like, I was drinking so much. And he's like, someday he's a videographer, so he's his own video business.
I know him,
So he'd be out on shoots a lot. And he's like, I'd forget, and then I'd have to drink like 3 liters at like 7 o'clock. Then I'd be up in the middle of the night, wreck my sleep. He's like, it's just a little bit too much. He goes, but for getting the discipline down, excellent.
Is one of the rules drink how much water?
I think it's 5 liters maybe.
Okay, yeah, I drink
it's
so much water because I'm always so hungry, and then so I drink a lot of like 0-calorie beverages, kind of like I drink a lot of these, and a lot of water. So I'm always fine with water intake. But when I'm working with a client one-on-one, you find out just everything about them, and so okay, you have training and nutrition. Everyone knows that. Okay, everyone knows that. Then sleep and hydration. You don't even think of them, okay? Like, people will just go on their phones and go to sleep and have a shitty sleep. People like, Thomas won't consciously drink water throughout the day. And it sounds so simple, lying in bed or drinking water, but they're like
also,
the biggest...
if you go to a coach and he's like, so Gary, you need to drink more water, you'd be like, oh,
yeah, you'd
Jesus
be like, screw
Christ.
this guy. And I'm like, no, I'm serious.
But I think that's why we need to kind of complicate things a lot, because you're like, I can't just tell people just to do 30 minutes work every day, because they'd be like, Gary, you can't be serious. I'm like, that's the minimum. Do 300 minutes work if you want, but just set yourself a low bar, because I'm sure you see this with coaching all the time. People come in guns hot. Rob, let's absolutely smash this out the gates, and they do for like 5 days, and then they're so sore or they're so tired or they're just fed up.
Yeah, and so I always say you're better doing things 80% right in the long term than 100% right for a week. And that's actually like my biggest piece of advice, my biggest fitness tip. And there's another one as well, okay? So let's say I'm working with a client, and this goes for anyone, and that, let's say you're on week 3, week 4, and you're making good progress, and you're following a sustainable plan. They go, all right, what changes are we making this week? We got to up my like, people are like sadistic. They're like, I want to up my cardio, drop my carbs, up my training volume. And I'm like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Because if you start making all these changes early on in the program, you're going to run out of tools in the toolbox later on in the program.
It's human
You're
nature,
gonna,
right?
Run out of cards to play.
We need the to be stimulated. We need the internal monkey to go, something new.
Yeah.
Look over here.
Exactly.
Something new and shiny. So we kind of have to. I always talk about tricking myself. I should trick myself, because I'm like, okay, because you get into kind of a lull very quickly. You have the initial burst of enthusiasm, and like that, I think you follow Nick Bear as well.
Yeah.
Be consistently good, not occasionally great.
Love that.
I always think about progress over perfection. Did you turn up today?
Yeah.
Did you make progress today? It doesn't have to be perfect. Just make progress every day. Stop trying to figure it all out. I wrote this in, ironically, my journal about 3 weeks ago. I was like, stop trying to figure it all out. Just figure out today.
Yeah.
Because I was like thinking big picture. Okay, where am I going to be in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? I was getting obsessed by it. I was getting obsessed by having it all figured out. And it was only when I was like,
just focus on today.
So my biggest piece of advice, and what's done the most for me, okay, if someone says, how did you, get to where you want to be? And I say, just do something every day that'll bring you closer to your goal. And that sounds really simple, so let me go in on a little bit more, okay? It just has to be something. Anything. So it doesn't have to be sign a huge contract daily, or grow a YouTube channel with 1,000 subscribers every day. Something like even something as small as go for a walk, hit a workout, or cook a healthy meal. Just something, or like just journal for 30 minutes. Just if you do something every single day that is going to positively bring you closer to that goal, then you're going in the right direction. Because there's a lot of days where some people do like virtually nothing, So don't
go backwards.
Yeah, or go backwards.
That's
exactly.
the danger, right? The danger is you've 5, 6, 7 days, good stuff. Yeah, I'm hitting my macros, Rob.
Yeah.
Just using fitness as an example. I think fitness and business overlap.
Oh man, it's
perfectly.
Telling you.
I think they're the exact same. That consistency, that dedication, tracking your output, showing up every day. The two of them are so linked. I think that's why a lot of athletes make good entrepreneurs eventually.
100%.
Discipline. They're used to the structure. They're used to just putting in the work.
Yeah.
That's the difference. They know they have to train every day because on Saturday they have a game or they have a fight or whatever. Like I'm a big MMA fan, and you look at that, there's no shortcuts there. There literally is. That is hours spent on the mats in the ring. There is no shortcuts. And it's the same in business, but I think we've all got tricked a little bit into, oh my God, look at Rob. Oh my God, look at that person there. Oh my God. Yeah, but 10 years. 10 years graft.
Oh man, I'm coming up to like 11 or something. But yeah, athletes in general, they'll make amazing entrepreneurs. They've got a lot of admirable factors that will carry over into business endeavors. Discipline, not being lazy, sticking to routine, schedule, having grit, knowing what it's like to put in the hard work. There's just so many crossovers there. It's crazy.
Talk to me about fuel cakes, because when we spoke last, it was just launching, and you kind of had mapped out kind of where it was going to be. So 2 years on, what's been happening?
Yeah, so that's another good example. Not where I wanted to be. I had to completely scrap the whole thing.
Trick of the game, Rob. I set that up lovely for you.
So basically, I haven't even talked about this on my channel. You're getting the full scoop.
Two scoops.
This is exclusive. So I started out when I was living in London in lockdown. You know the story. Something that isn't a supplement company or a gym clothing company like every single guy in the fitness industry starts. So I want to make something different, and I did. Something that my audience already love. My first ever viral video was how to make protein pancakes. So it just became a thing on my channel, the same way sour candy became a thing on Max's channel. That was actually a huge inspiration of mine. Max told me, start something like this. And so I did. And now my mistake that I've learned from is when I was living in London, I said an agency, like an influencer agency, approached me. They said, hey, we help influencers launch products, be it like clothing or merch, whatever, notebooks with their name on it that their audience can buy. And I said, okay, sweet. I'm gonna help you guys do it. And it started off great. It was sold. Selling was never a problem, and the product was amazing from the get-go.
When you see the link, though, when I saw you launch that, I was like, there it is.
Yeah. People are like,
just the synergy. It's like Max with the sour candy. Sometimes you see people do, and you're like, yeah, they've thought about this. Yeah. It isn't just like, hey, buy my t-shirt, buy my plan. You put, and you've done something difficult.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. I think there's so many products. I want to talk to you about the creator economy as well in a few minutes, but there's so many products. You're like, just slapped your name on it.
Yeah.
You took
white
the
labels.
took the easy way. Look, it makes sense in a lot of cases, but you did, if you think of business in terms of like 0 to 10 difficulty, physical product, that's a food.
Yeah.
You're up there. So
talk
to me.
Tell
me about it.
I got this agency. I gave them 30% off the equity to help me fulfill all the orders and launch it essentially. And it went great. But then over the course of time, maybe they took on too many other influencers. COVID was definitely a factor that, it was difficult to meet in person with travel and everything. Just there was a lapse in communication. Okay, simple as, I'm not going to shit on anyone. And I often try to say, oh, maybe, how was it my fault in any way? Like, how am I at fault here? Blame yourself, Jocko Will and extreme accountability, right?
Exactly.
Extreme ownership.
I do the same. I look back
yeah.
and go, okay, I kind of got fucked over here,
Yeah.
but how did I put myself in that position?
Exactly.
That's how I always frame it. And I've had a couple of challenges over the last 6 to 9 months with business. I'm like, okay, how did I get myself in that position? And how will I never be there again?
Yeah, exactly. I always say it's all your fault, right? Okay, and
it sounds weird. Oh, you're into like punishing yourself. I'm like, no, but like I think a lot of people do the other one. They look across the table, and go, Rob did this and Rob did that. I'm like,
you look like a loser.
Yeah, you look like a moaner.
Yeah.
So two things I hate.
How am I going to learn? What am I going to learn more from here? If I say play the blame game and say you guys weren't good enough for this, or I'm going to be like, I could have been better here. So I'm going to learn more from them. So whatever, not bad anything on anyone, but there was just a breakdown in communication. And then I was like, if I really want to grow this into like a huge brand and see it in shops, I'm going to have to kind of take the reins myself and have more control over it. So I said, hey guys, it's time to just cut ties a little bit. So if you just give me that 30% back and I'll be on my way. And they're like, yeah, fine. So first of all, split the bank account 70-30. Yeah, fair enough. A little bit annoying and hard to see, but it's fine. And then I was like, so can I just get those manufacturers' details? And they're like, no. So they're like, you're out on your own. So I just.
But they give you the equity back.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, and one thing that I was kind of worried about as well was getting like, for example, fuelcakes.com and the Instagram password.
It sounds silly, but it's huge.
It sounds simple.
A good name is just so bloody difficult.
And having a .com with no like hyphenated, just the username clean. So got it all back anyways. But then
that's
I was
a big
like,
deal.
That was I celebrated that day.
I'm not surprised because I can count on one hand. I can count on all my hands and fingers and toes how many splits I've seen in businesses. It happens all the time. The one thing I say to every entrepreneur who's going into a partnership or a foundation, or not a foundation, but into like any sort of co-founder situation is have a founder document. Have a legal Oh no, but like me and Rob are great pals. Doesn't matter. Even definitely have it then, because you don't want to have a situation where like, I've decided to kind of go off and, do something else. And then they're like, oh, I'll have the equity back. They're like, no, of course not.
Yeah, and so for an example, like, let's say you send an email being like, hey, you just send an email being like, can I get this? Can I get that? Okay. Takes a week, 2 weeks to reply. 25 emails, it's 6 months later. Okay, so that was the whole up really, was just getting everything. But anyways, we got it done. And then I was like, all right, now I need to go find a new manufacturer, develop new flavors, a better formula, because I can't just like relaunch with the same thing. Better packaging, resealable, better logo, better branding, just really just start from scratch.
You started from scratch.
Just completely from scratch.
How did you mentally deal with that? Because I think that's the bit that people would have stopped at. They would kind of went, oh, I'm kind of embarrassed now, or that's a lot of work. Oh, do I really want it? And the heebie-jeebies would have set in. They were kind of like, oh, the self-doubt talk would have started. How did you kind of like plow through that?
I actually like the way you said embarrassed there, and I was. Yeah. I was like, people are like, hey, where's the brand gone? Yeah. Hey, why isn't it on sale? Hey, the website's down. People loving that, and I'm like, oh, it's so easy to just call quits or give up. And then I was like, that's just not me. And over the last couple of years, I've built unwavering confidence where I'm like, I've so much other things going on that I don't even care. So I'm like, whatever, think whatever you want. I've got so much other things to keep me going. And I never even took any money from it. It was always just, I put that in fuel cakes into fuel cakes. So that didn't affect my lifestyle. But what you said about embarrassed, I was like, oh man, this looks terrible. Like nothing worse than having an inactive site or something. Everyone's just like, what's going on there? Yeah. And so you just gotta, pick yourself up and keep going at it again. But so I found a good manufacturer in Ireland, which makes more sense for me. And just took everything from scratch and 100% owner. And it literally launched a month ago. And
I saw your story about having it. I think you're in Body First, were you?
Yeah.
And I was bloody delighted when I saw that. Because I was like, he did it.
Yeah.
He willed that back into physical existence. I talk to founders about this all the time. There's something special when you just take it from here and you just will it. Through the power of your mind, you just go. Someone asked me, like, do you consider yourself an entrepreneur? And I was like, yeah. Kind of would. Yeah, it's the whole point of the pod.
Yeah.
I was like, I was like, I'll describe it to you like this. I take an idea from my mind, put it into my hands, and money comes into my bank account.
That's it.
You want to summarize it?
Like a lot of people will shit on like, let's say you're like a barber going out like doing haircuts or just something like, everyone's an entrepreneur in some case.
Exactly.
Like in some way, shape or form. Like people think you have to be the CEO of it, like in a massive office in a shirt and tie to be an entrepreneur. And I just think that's not true. The way you described it is just perfectly. You have an idea, you make it come to fruition, and then the money hits your account. That's it. That's an entrepreneur for me.
That's it.
But so to have that physical product, have it in Ireland, shout out Body First stockist, and then we just got another stockist today in the north of Ireland, AOB Nutrition.
Oh, yeah.
And so that is huge because they can ship to the UK now and EU. At the moment, I am getting a few pallets shipped over to the UK, as that's like kind of the biggest market nearby. And so that's my current to-do list really is get that over there. And so if you want to just talk business and how much I'm learning. I was about to say how hard it is, but I'm like, that's a pussy answer. I'm like, how much I'm learning?
It could be both.
Is the logistics and the cost of shipping, taxes, customs fees, all the stuff you don't think about. And you're like, then you have your profit margin, and then this is all eating into that. And and then you throw on a sale, 20% sale or a discount code, and you're like, whoa, like, how am I, how am I just taking everything into account? So that's what I'm learning a lot about, because my whole history as an entrepreneur is service-based business coaching for the most part, or, doing YouTube. It's like, you just put it up. And there's no like physical product that you have to ship. So that's what I'm learning a lot about now.
What's different?
Having something physical that I need to get to someone. That is like definitely
So is that the biggest challenge? Is it what you talked about there? Is in like, okay, now it has to be put in a package. Now someone has to physically get it from the warehouse.
Exactly. I'm like, okay, can we just ship this to the UK? And they're like, yep, that'll be like €25. And I was like, well, that's not gonna work. So I'm like, how do I get it to the UK now? It's all a big puzzle. It's like a big game. I'm like, how do I get it to the UK and to get it distributed well enough? Oh, someone's package has gone missing. Great. Postman crashed his car. There's just so much other
stuff
factors.
Like that.
Yeah.
It's the stupid things you don't think about. Human error. Someone plugged out the server. Like, what? That wiped out the whole of the UK's aerospace. Someone plugged out the server?
Yeah.
You're like, someone filled out the form incorrectly. Remember you were stuck in Ireland last week?
That was like a week ago.
Someone had filled out a form incorrectly.
No way.
That took down the entire UK airspace because someone had filled out a departure form for an airline incorrectly, gone into the system, computer says no, computer shut down the whole airspace. Man. That is why you missed out on your Ibiza trip. I meant to send that to you, actually.
I am about $3,000 down from that trip. Yeah, just up in smoke. Hotel are like, nope. I'm like, can I reschedule? They're like, nope. Car rental, gone. Flights. I got the Ryanair flights back, but then I had to buy like new Aer Lingus flights from Marbella, which were like 600 for me in Linda, and not more. So that is just, again, just up in smoke.
So the physical product.
Yeah.
Talk to me. What's the plan here? You're back 100% owner now. What do you want to do with this? Where do you want Fuel Cakes to be? Because we'll probably do another pod in 2 years. Where are we going to be then?
Exactly.
Ideally.
So I've figured that it's not a product like pre-workout or creatine that you order online. It's more of a food product, like the way you wouldn't order like peanut butter or syrup online. I know some people do, but majority just get it in a shop. Yeah. So retail is definitely the answer. And I noticed when Ray from Body First was telling me, he's like, whoa, like people grab it off the shelves. I think people are quicker to buy it in person than online, just because of the nature of the product.
I know what you mean.
So I want it, which is, again, something else I've learned. So I want it in all the big retailers. Like the goal is one day have it in like Whole Foods. Holland and Barrett would be another good one. And then the dream is like Dunn's, Tesco and everything. But at the moment, we're going to start getting into like smaller shops like AOB, Body First, and, like little health food shops. Like Urban Health is another shop in Ranelagh. Those little kind of like... There's like small health stores. So that's going to be the goal, just to make it accessible to everyone in Ireland and the UK. And then, one day we'll get it into the big retailers, and it'll be a product that's just in everyone's kitchen, just in the cupboard there, And I want to make it like, how do I say, not even like so gymmy, like so protein. I want to have it like just like like a cereal that everyone
Yeah, you don't want it to be a bro product.
I want it to just be something that everyone eats. Like Max's holding company is called Actual Candy. You know, like everyone's like, when he launched it, he's like, is there protein in it? Is there caffeine and aminos in them? And he's like, nope. Just sour candy.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I remember him launching that because I was like, he is the king of like teaser.
Good.
Me and my wife sat down and watched this 39-minute talk about buying his land.
Yeah.
The other night we're like, oh, he's put up what happened with the land. And we sat down and watched it 39 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's just the king of like the slow reveal. And I remember kind of thinking, oh, it's going to be a gym thing. Then he's candy and you're like, oh, random.
Yeah.
But now fast forward to where he is now.
Insane.
He's putting down serious numbers.
Yeah, he just did. He just hit 4 years on his birthday. Yeah, I think that's pretty sure that's when he started.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
so it's crazy. Yeah, but yeah, so that's the goal. And again, he says that the best thing is getting it in the Targets and the Walmarts and all that. So yeah, that's where I want to go with it.
Okay, someone described product market fit to me as initially you're pushing. And then you want to get it to people are pulling it out of your hands.
Nice.
People are like, yeah, it's great description. I think someone quoted Peter Thiel on it, going, that's product market fit. So you're pushing it into where your core audience are. It's in the fitness shops. It's in the places where people know you and they know the product and they're able to go, oh, there it is. Eventually you want it to be in the duns where people are like literally grabbing it.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that? They probably don't. I think where you want to get is don't make the connection with you.
Oh, so I've been getting that now with this recent launch is like people are tagging it. And like, so, you know, I have access to both Instagram pages and I'll go on to like the Fuel Cakes page and I'll be like, mention your story, like loads of mentions. And I'm like, oh, they're not tagging me. And I'm like, great. You know, like just people that don't know me, or they're like, someone tagged another influencer and they're like, hey, I saw this on, you know, Rebecca's story. So I bought this and it's great. No mention of me. I'm like, nice.
But that's the dream, right? It has to be beyond you.
Yeah, exactly.
It has to be like beyond Rob. You can't be there every night cranking the wheel. Again, Nathan Barry talks about flywheels. You're building a flywheel that I'm thinking of the pod as like this, right? I put more and more episodes out there, and eventually it's just not me cranking it. It's like a water wheel. It's just going up and down itself.
Yeah.
You see that with content, I'm sure.
That's
why I love content. We will do this now. We'll do an hour and a half. We'll sit down. It goes out in the world in a few weeks, and that can be listened to once, 1 million, 10 million. It doesn't matter. The flywheel is in place. You've already created that.
Yeah. Mr. Beast has a great way to describe certain content like that. Evergreen.
Yeah.
I love that. He was like, there's videos that I've put up like 5 years ago and they're only going viral now.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is cool.
Well, that's how I think about these pods. We're like, okay, we'll talk about what's happening now today. But essentially, this is your story. This is a snapshot of Rob and Gary, 2023 in Marbella, September. And then we'll do another one in 2 years' time. And they're snapshots of time. But they're evergreen topics. Like, we're not talking about, oh, did you see what happened in the news last week?
Yeah.
I avoid that at all costs.
Oh, nice.
Because I want to talk about deeper stuff. How can people listen to this and go, I always say this, I want one person listening to go, that's it. That's the thing. The thing Rob just said there about the physical product, that's the bit I'm struggling with.
Yeah.
Every episode I want one person to have that spark. And what's amazing now is we're going 4 years. And I've grafted at this. I have put in the hours and the time. But now I'm seeing people come through who've started businesses after listening to the pod.
Best feel.
Oh my God.
Best feeling. Like true fulfillment. I've had that from people who have gone to some like events that I've put on and talks. And you know, that week they're like, okay, I'm after being surrounded by entrepreneurs. I'm going to go start that hustle. I'm going to go start that business. And it takes off. And they message you like a year later. And you're like, whoa, that's like the best feeling ever. That's the best feeling ever. And also, so this is actually the main reason I'm in fitness, is because either clients that I've worked with or people that just watch my free content that I put out, when they hit me up in the DMs with a transformation, and they're like, hey, I did this just from, you know, watching your YouTube videos. Or they're like, even just the nicest words ever. It doesn't have to be a picture. Just tell me what they did. I'm like, actually makes me want to cry. I'm like, that is like the best feeling ever.
Honestly, I get emotional.
I swear to God. Yeah. No, I swear to God.
Because you put out a lot, right? You put out like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And pods are kind of like YouTube. They're probably more niche though, because I don't
get comments on my pods, so I don't know who's listening.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And sometimes people like message you out of the blue, and you're like, number one, I cannot bloody believe you're listening. And number two, that is one of the nicest things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Because I always say to people going, look, the fact you sat down, found me, sent that message means the absolute world. You've made my week, month, whatever it is, because you just kind of feel, oh, okay. Because we sit down here, just me and you.
Yeah,
and I never think about anyone listening.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I think of one person who's listening going, that's it. But otherwise, I don't think of like tens of thousands of people listening to them going, oh, that's wild. I think you couldn't either.
I know, yeah, it's actually crazy. And even when another one that like I absolutely love is when people will come up to me in the gym and they'll just say hello, and you know, they'll be like, hey, you know, grab a selfie, whatever. I'm like, people are like, oh, I'm sorry for bothering you, and I'm like, no, opposite of bothering. You know,
I think that's unique, though. I think a lot of people.
Some people don't like it,
that.
but I definitely do. You know, I'll always like I'll yap on for minutes, like, you know, I'll take 10 minutes out of my workout to just chat with someone as like, you know, never bite the hand that feeds you. You know, the people that watch you online and support you online is like just priceless.
I think you're interesting. I'm the same on the pod as I am in person, as I am when we have a coffee or a breakfast. I think you're the same. You just are who you are.
Yeah.
There is definitely a thing that, oh, the camera's on. Oh, hey guys. And I've met a few people like that, and I'm like, whoa, you are like two different characters.
I know.
That must eat you up, though. I
I
see some people, I'm like, oh, I couldn't get 2 words out of you 2 minutes ago.
I know.
And now the
Eat you
camera's
up.
on, and you're like a different person. You have like
I'm like,
fun Bobby and not fun Bobby.
Yeah, I'm like, how do you switch it up? Yeah, how do you look at yourself in the mirror?
But it must be hard, though, because they're
Yeah.
like tormented by this character. I think that's the danger some people fall into, is that they have a character. Look, obviously we're 10 or 20% bigger online than we are in person.
Yeah.
You couldn't have like this level of intensity and focus all the time. But I think there is a definite a disconnect between some people that just have a veneer, and you're like, oh, you're not someone I ever want to spend time with again. It's funny though, isn't it?
Too much of a gap, yeah. And I've met, there's a lot of people even in the fitness industry who are like that, and like you'd meet them and you're like, yeah, it's kind of like fun. Santa Claus isn't real.
It's sad. Sometimes I do, and I'm like, oh no, God, I had a vision in my head of you.
So for anyone listening, you know, be consistent to whoever you're talking to or whatever platform you're on. You know, just be yourself all the time. Be true to yourself.
It's the authenticity thing, and it's kind of cliche. Of course, you should be yourself.
Yeah. Oh,
it's rarer than you think.
Rare. Not because at all.
And I appreciate you talking about fuel cakes, because I like to have a high level of transparency, because I think I'm talking every week on the pod. I don't want to be saying one thing one week and one week another, because then people instantly go, bullshit.
Yeah.
He's a bullshit artist. He is not real. I want to do this forever. I want people to look back and go, he's been putting this out for 20 years.
Yeah.
And he's evolved, but he said there and he made a mistake there. So I talk about my mistakes all the time in the pod, but not a lot of people will, because and I can always tell. I'm always like, oh, you're giving me the bullshit PR version.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. This is going to be a dull pod.
Yeah.
You know, you're PR'd within an inch of your life. But I think that authenticity, I think people listening are going to go, fuel cakes.
Yeah.
Deadly. Because it's never linear. We talked about this at the start. Oh, look, Rob started that and then off to the top. Never linear.
Man. I failed at honestly every single thing ever. Any project I've ever tried, I failed at first. But I've like this weird thing with me. Like I've got like some stuff wrong with me apparently in school. They told me I do. You know, obsessive compulsive disorder. I have that. Quite high, actually. It's funny enough, someone was like, I mentioned that in podcasts, and they're like, no, you don't, you're just saying that. I'm like, no, actually, like, I did the tests. I did the tests in school, and don't shoot the messenger. So I've got, like, ADHD, OCD. If I like, try something, I won't be able to drop it. And which is not good in a lot of times. What's sunken cost fallacy doesn't apply to me. Even if I shouldn't,
still going,
digging, even if I still shouldn't be doing it, I just can't stop. I'll just keep going. So, but back to the point on failures is I've failed at every single thing. You know, the first event I tried to put on, no one bought tickets. You know, the fuel cakes, the first launch, I had to completely scrap it, rebuild again. First couple of YouTube videos, nothing happened there. Same with Instagram. I was putting up pictures of like honestly chopped vegetables and potatoes. You know, content sucked. Every single thing that I've ever tried, I've been shit at the beginning. But the difference of me and other people is I will just keep going. Maybe I'm like ignorant to it, I'll just be like, oh, this is great. I'll just keep going.
There's a power
until
in that,
it
though.
works. Yeah.
There's definitely a power.
like superpower. Like people actually say the most successful people are like just these ignorant idiots. For lack of a better word, who was just like, nope, whatever, I'm just going to keep going. You know, and it's kind of true.
Paralysis by analysis, otherwise.
Yeah.
You get into your own head. Oh, should I relaunch? Okay, should I not? Should I
Yeah.
do? Should I that? The power in just going, we're going.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't matter. We're going somewhere. Let's just get in the car. We're going. Right? But you have to, like, you can sit there, oh, let's just make, I get a lot of messages from people going, oh, once I, get this chart done, I'm just doing a bit more market research. I'm just doing a bit, I'm like, just start it already.
Oh my
because
God.
it's not going to, you don't want to say it's not going to work. But you go, it's not, I always say it's never going to resemble what you think it is.
No.
Never. You're not going to launch it and suddenly people are like, oh my God, Gary, I've been waiting for this my whole life.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, look at this. Look how great it is. Look
Yeah.
how great it is. I was like, expect that for a year. And then suddenly people go, did you launch something?
Yeah, exactly. Another good example is like there's the like in the fitness industry coaches. It's like they'll be like, there's some coaches and they'll be like, oh, I need to get my landing page and my funnel completely correct. And then there's like these coaches that are killing it, and they're just like, PayPal me. No, sorry, I don't even have a website.
Yeah.
Like they're literally just getting it done, like without any of the flashy stuff, and they're the people that would be more successful.
100%, because they're doing the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I follow Ryan Holiday. I listen to a lot of his content. He's absolutely superb.
I actually just reread his what's it called again? Not the
Courage is calling, discipline is destiny, the obstacle is the way.
Discipline is destiny. That's the one that just
Incredible writer.
Yeah.
I absolutely love his stuff. It just clicks with me. Whatever it is about him and the Stoic philosophy just clicks with me. But he always says, keep the main thing the main thing. He comes in every day, writes.
nice.
Because he's a writer.
Yeah.
And he's getting all these, he could be getting paid, I think, $100,000 a talk. He could be flying all over the country. He's like, why would I do that? It's not my main thing. My main thing is writing books. He's written, I think, 12 at this stage.
Crazy.
He's an animal. Like to churn out books. Like you've written a book, you know how intense it is to do any sort of creative endeavor. He's doing it day after day. And it comes back to what we talked about, the compounding.
Yep.
Someone asked him on an interview, "Oh, you're going to hit the New York Times bestseller list today. What do you do?" And he goes, "I'm in my office writing."
Nice. Yeah, do you know what I love as well? When I see like an MMA fighter or a boxer and they have like a huge fight, and you see on their stories the next day or in an interview,
I know what you're gonna
they're
say.
back in the gym.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, that's hard.
And they're saying they go backstage and they're rewatching it on their phone straight away. They're like, "Oh, I didn't do that right. I follow Ian Gary at the minute.
He's sick. He's sick. I just started following him recently as well. Blown up.
He's going to be it.
Yeah.
He's going to be it. He's already there, but he's going to be it. But I watch him and I watch his mentality. He's rewatching all the fights and he's breaking it down. And he just has that. He's obsessed. And people think, "Oh, don't be obsessed." You have to be obsessed.
Only way.
You have to be.
Because there's going to be someone who's more obsessed than you, you know?
That's why I was thinking sport is the perfect analogy.
Yeah.
You can't be a little bit in. You can't be a little bit of an MMA fighter. You have to be all in. You can't be a little bit of an entrepreneur. You can't build, yourself from fuel cakes. You can't be like tipping away at it.
No.
Sure, look, I'll see when they email me back.
You got to be chasing them.
Right? And I come across a lot of characters, and I met this guy recently, and he was relentless about coming on the pod. And I was like, I respect that. Now, I did some checks on him to go, is he real?
Okay, yeah.
Because I get a lot of
job?
inbounds now, which is great. The pod has got to such a level that we're a huge amount of inbounds now. But like, I didn't have to check to go, is this person real? But it was his relentlessness. It was without doubt his relentlessness that got him on the pod. Because he kept coming back, he kept circling back, but he did it in a way going, here, we're launching this, here, we've done that. And he built up the social proof with me. You say people, looking at you going, oh, Fuel Cakes is down. Doesn't matter a shit, because you've built up a portfolio of your career going, here's all his projects.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
go look at them.
Yeah.
It's not about LinkedIn anymore. It's about what have you done in the last 10 years? Show me your projects. Show me your landing pages. Show me your videos. Show me your podcasts. I think people still haven't figured that out yet. They're still in the pen and paper world.
Yeah.
But like, send me your CV. What?
Yeah, I know.
What's
That's
that?
gone. That's fully gone.
But people still think that, though.
Yeah.
People are still going, oh, my CV, you better update my CV. I'm like, why would you do that?
Like if I'm hiring someone for Fuel Cakes or Game Plan or hiring a coach, well, first of all, I've never, or an editor or anything, I've never asked for CV. I forgot actually they existed until you just mentioned it there. I would, if you're hiring someone, okay, be it anyone, what would you ask for? I know what I'm
literally trying to hire a shorts editor right now. Show me your portfolio. That's all I asked him.
Show me what you've done.
Show me what you've done recently that ties in what I do.
That's
Send
literally
me 5 samples. Then we're going to do a trial. So he's doing a trial literally as we speak. He's chopping up last week's episode. Show me a trial. Didn't work. Okay. Next guy, show me a trial. Next girl, show me a trial. That's all.
That's it. And
Do
like
it.
if you're hiring a coach, show me some clients you've worked with. That's it. And like, so anything you're doing, you can, first of all, if you are the person applying for the job, just do a little bit of free work. That's what I did at the beginning. Build up your portfolio. Replace the word CV with portfolio.
Exactly.
And then that's it, you know?
Exactly.
Free game. Life's
That's what I
easy.
always say to people is like, don't wait for the job to be advertised. Number one, don't wait. Who do you want to work for? Okay, you want to work for these 10 people. Cool. Go do something for them. Do a project. I'm sure you're the same. I get probably 20 to 30 emails a week going, hey, I'd love to edit the pod for you. Hey, I'd love to do videos for you. Hey, I'd love to do editing. How many of them send me a sample?
Oh, so the one I just took on another, I think it's for YouTube Shorts, it's for vertical content anyways. I just took him on because on Twitter, he just replied to one of my tweets and said, hey, I just made this edit of you. And it was sick.
Yeah.
And I DM'd him.
Yeah.
I DM'd him. And that was it. That was literally it. It was just come first with what you can do. And that's it.
I don't care who you are. I don't care where you are. I don't care what you do. I was like, can you do the work?
Yeah. That's literally it. Yeah.
I don't care when you do it. I don't care how you do it. Is it going to be absolutely outstanding?
Yeah.
But I think that'll blow people's minds going, wait, Rob just hired a guy off Twitter?
Yeah, it wasn't even a DM, it was a reply. Like, if you look at my tweets, you can probably find the edit underneath one of them. It was sick.
Your Twitter game's gone strong, though. What are you doing?
Yeah, I know. I've been putting more effort into it because I can't go on Threads. We know we have the EU thing. It's not available.
I think that's going to die a death as well.
Yeah,
though.
me too. I'm team Twitter. Bias.
Or X. Whatever we're going to call it.
X.
Okay, we'll call it
Biased
X.
because I can't log into Threads. But
Yeah,
I think Twitter, if I was to, place a few chips on a social media platform, I think Twitter video is going to be next up.
Same. Yeah. I'm bullish. A lot of people are like, oh, it's terrible. Oh, the algorithm. Oh,
I love it.
If this dude can send rockets to Mars, he can build electronic cars, I think he can figure out a social media platform.
Yeah.
So I'm exactly the same. I am very bullish on Twitter. But your Twitter, I've noticed it. I was like, Rob's stepping up the Twitter game.
Yeah, daily.
He's getting those threads going. He's getting those cool. You're getting those cool threads working out.
Yeah,
your engagement.
You just keep you scrolling and everything.
Good.
Yeah, for sure. And also, I don't know why this is strange for me. I'm like, maybe because I've got a smaller following on X, Twitter. I'm like, I'll say whatever compared to I'm a bit more conservative with my captions on Instagram. Oh, but then where I'm least conservative is YouTube spoken, because sometimes if I'll say something, people will be like, oh, I get his point because there's tonality and body language.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas if I type out exactly what I say, everyone will be like, geez, that's a bit fucking morbid.
He's a bit aggressive, isn't he?
Yeah, I know.
He's a bit aggro. He's a bit funny. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I've like typed something and I'm like, that doesn't read well.
Smiley face.
Yeah.
Just put an emoji here.
Yeah.
Let's put a GIF. It'll be fine.
One of these.
Let's talk money. I want to talk money and I want to talk investments.
Yep.
What are your main source of income right now?
Yeah, so coaching, number one, via app and high ticket, probably like really tied for each other. So that's taken in, say, over 30, 40 grand a month. And then it would be brand deals, so sponsorships. And then it would be kind of like whatever goes along with YouTube revenue, but they're the main four, I guess.
Sorry, I'm still processing you saying 30 to 40 grand a month.
Yeah. No, it's been going a long time, but
life's good.
Life's good. Yeah. Like maybe cut that out for the tax man, but that's kind of the main thing. It would be coaching and then social media, and sponsorships, and then I don't take anything from Fuel Cakes at all.
Okay. When you say social media, like how does that work? Like break that down a little bit for me, because I think people look at you and go, how does Rob make money online?
Yeah.
How does he do that? Like what's the process?
So here, skipped over things very quickly there. For example, social media, you'll have sponsorships, which is like an ongoing brand deal.
Like what?
Like I've been with Ghost since 2018, so monthly salary plus commission. So there's two from one. Like, so there's so many different deposits into the account, so it's very hard to kind of list all of them. So you'll have sponsorships, which is, you know,
You'll see Rob's bank account in the show notes.
Yeah.
Wanna click down. Just click Rob's bank account in the show notes.
Screenshot. So you'll have like year-long sponsorships or multi-year if you're performing well for the brand. Then you'll have brand deals, so they're just one-off mentions. So for example, I just did one for HelloFresh in my last YouTube video.
Oh, yeah.
They say we'll pay you X amount to just talk about HelloFresh for usually like 1 to 2 minutes within the first half of the vlog. So they're nice and easy if they're a brand that you genuinely use. And then lastly, well, actually 3, there's another one. So 3 would be affiliate and commission. So oftentimes they're worked into your sponsorship. Or
what is that?
So like whoever uses code Lipsett on Ghost, you know, I'll get like 20% of the sale.
Okay.
Which is great. So here, actually, no, I'll tell you afterwards. It's not to do with me. So I know some athletes, and they take like a massive commission instead of a salary. So because like so many people use their code.
Okay.
You know, so there's ways you can work it. And then so you've affiliate and commission, and then so that would also be like links. So for example, I have like an ice bath linked on the bottom of my YouTube videos, and give me a couple of $100 per month, you know, if people just buying an ice bath, or you can do it with anything. Even there's people like, especially videographers and photographers, they will have Amazon stores. And so like, that's like one of the main things you buy on Amazon is like box lights, mics and everything.
Yeah.
And so they'll make a full-time living from that.
Wow.
You know, like Casey Neistat would apparently make like $1 million per year, if not more.
He fascinates me.
Just affiliate like links in his YouTube description box.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's not something I'm big on. That's like down the bottom in terms of social media, but it's something I would not turn my nose up at. And then lastly, there's the actual just pure revenue from Google. You know, like Google, you see Google Ireland pay into your account at the end of the month, which if you like are uploading loads, like it can actually really add up. And so let's say you upload like 100 videos. Let's say no, you upload 200 videos per year, and they're always evergreen. They're always getting views. It's like giving yourself a pension. You will get like, there's videos that are paying me like, you know, $1,000 a month from 5 years ago.
I think that'll blow people's minds.
Yeah. No, honestly, like my biggest, if you want to talk about investment, my biggest investment is starting YouTube. There's like, I can like take 3 months off and I'll still be getting paid like from affiliate links and codes and YouTube and everything.
I think that's the dream, though.
It's crazy.
That's when I talked about it at the very start. You know, you've figured it out. I think, Rob. Like you've really kind of looked at it and gone, okay, how do I make money online? Like the whole make money when you sleep is a cliche and obviously horrible. But that is the modern world.
Yeah.
Like we're all online now. We all consume, like YouTube is probably the biggest thing I use for TV. I don't watch TV. I watch YouTube all the time.
Yeah.
So like.
Me too. When I'm eating, which you're not meant to do. You're meant to focus on your food if you want to feel more full. But
Okay,
I love it. I love loading up a good podcast.
Same.
Yeah, I love it. I like have a little stand and everything for my phone.
Exact same.
But yeah, I've learned how to play the great internet game, and I've still got a lot to learn about as well. Like I know there's people that are just, it's like they know social media and online business as if it's like their second language.
Yeah.
It's crazy how figured out they have it. I've still a long way to learn.
There's levels to the game,
There's
right?
levels to the game. And there's even people with like not very big followings and they're just like fucking, they just know how to do it so well.
Niche within a niche.
Yeah.
I love that though, that like a lot of people would look at you and go, Rob's there. Rob's made it. But I love that mindset of like, let's do more. There's levels. And I think you do a good job of surrounding yourself with people on different levels.
Yeah.
You're always going upwards on that trajectory. You're looking at Max, you're looking at Christian, you're looking at those people going, what are they doing?
Yeah, it's so important. And also having a network, the best part about it is just having someone that you can message when you need an answer to something. I can get an answer to anything.
Google's great for a lot of stuff, but not for their intricate stuff where you're like, I just need to know this answer.
Not for real world experience and kind of like a little like an intro or just something like that.
This is what people say. This is what they mean.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what they say publicly. This is all the good stuff you're going to tell me over coffee later.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
reality, right? Oh, and like I do this every day. I'm literally a human connector. I'm a human rooter. I've had so many people on the pod now. People have pinged me going, hey, I need this. You need to talk to Rob. Hey, I need this. Yeah, I need to talk to Sharon. Hey, magic. But there's power in that. There's a whole sub-layer beneath the internet, which is running on human connection, which is still important.
Yeah.
Talk to me. I want to talk to you about something weird.
Go on.
Your eye, your aesthetic. It's very distinguishable. How have you worked that?
So are you talking about picture-wise or
Picture-wise, your Instagram. Like I was looking it up this morning over breakfast. I was scrolling through. You have an audience of probably about 1 million across your different channels, probably more. You have a very distinctive style, which is very clean. It's fresh. If I look at a picture, I can nearly know it's yours. Not a lot of people achieve that. People kind of go towards the samey look. How do you do that?
So it comes back to my OCD and attention detail. I hate bringing that up because again, people are like, "Oh, you don't have." I do, right? I'm very like, you want to see people come into my Villa Lipsett and they're like, "Is this a show house?" That's what someone said the last time they were in it. Like it's like all white and super clean, and it's just the way. If my car is messy or my office is messy or my house is messy, I can't concentrate. And again, that's the ADHD. Like a tractor would drive by when I was in school, or a car, and I'd be like looking out the window just to look at it. So like if there's too much going on, I'll lose focus. So I need everything to be like super clean and organized. Patrick Bateman-esque. Honestly, the dead bodies are upstairs. But so that's just how my content ends up looking. And I'll like, for example, I'll take a picture of the sea, and if the horizon is imbalanced, I'll have to straighten it in like Lightroom or whatever. And I will actually like put my thumb on either side of the phone to make sure that like the horizon is completely straight. Like, so that's just how my brain works.
If you're listening, go to like Villa Lipsett or go to Rob's Instagram account and you'll see what I mean. You'll instantly see that style, especially Villa Lipsett.
Yeah, especially, because that's like...
Top tier.
Yeah, that's like a showroom. One day I'm probably going to turn that into a little Airbnb business. Talk about some after the pod. I want to turn that... I look at everything to capitalize on everything. So I want to make that into like a little business, getting rid of Villa Lipsett. Have Lipsett Villas one day.
Yeah. Well, I even said that to my wife on her way. I was like, okay, we're probably coming back here next winter for maybe 5-6 months.
Yeah, definitely.
Our house ain't going to be empty.
I know.
I was like, right, we need to figure that out. What do we need to do? I look ahead and I go, right, what do I need to do now so that next year I can have income coming in from the house? So here, what are the steps we need to take,
John, I was thinking, right, me and Linda were speaking about this. Okay, dream setup. So you have Villa in Marbella, you have a nice big house in Dublin or wherever, and then let's name one more place. Maybe something in Texas, whatever, okay? Dubai, okay, let's say Dubai. Right, so you do 4 months in each one.
Rotate through,
and then every time you're not staying there, you're renting it or Airbnb-ing it out. Then that's you retired. Like that's it. You're just you're just free money forever.
You've cracked the game.
Yeah, that like right. Is that like for me? I'm like, well, you do it 2 properties as well, but I'm like 3 properties. I'm like, is that like is that a thing that I didn't get told about?
Well, I think it's because it's not the done thing.
Yeah,
I think that's why. But when you look at it, that's why I think X Twitter is unbelievable. I look at all these guys and all this holdco idea in the States, all these guys talking about holdcos. They have their holdco, which is like Gary sits on top of the holdco, but then he has like 5 or 6 different streams of income down below, 5 or 6 different companies, all feeding into different things. He's different real estate investments, he's crypto, he's this, he's that, he's the other. And they're now sharing all this data, and I just can't get enough of it. I'm looking at going, okay, the incomes, this, and this, right, this is how you do this. And then how do you live your life, though, through that? And like you say, having 3 different properties or 2 different properties, whatever it is, I think because people think, oh yeah, I'll go away two weeks in the year and be lovely.
Yeah.
And they're miserable for 50 weeks of the year. And they're like, oh, when I get away for those 2 weeks, you spend the first week stressed out. And the second week, you're like, going home in 6 days, going home in 4 days, going home in 5 days. I can't think of a worse way to live.
No, exactly. You got to make your life one big constant all day.
Well, I think so, right? But people listen to this go, oh, the lads, huh? The lads are living on a different world. Come back to the real world.
Oh, man. If you think we're living on a different world, it's like there's just so much bigger operators out there.
Oh, man, I can't get over this place. Marbella is just on a different level.
It's motivating, you know?
I think so. I went into Real Paddle and you talk about overstimulated. I just walked in. I was like, I couldn't process what was going on.
It's like a circus. It's crazy.
Honestly, probably a bit too much for someone like you who needs to work out every day. I can see why you wouldn't go there.
No, but it's definitely like, it even has the ice baths and saunas, and then the other gyms have that. It's like, one day I was just like working out and Anthony Joshua was just there, like at the end, just throwing digs. It's crazy. It is a sensory overload.
It is, and it literally took me 2 days of going there to go,
this is where that is. And
Now I feel kind of like relaxed, and now I'm like motivated to hell.
Yeah.
And you walk around Marbella, you walk around Portobello, and you're like, there is so much. It kind of just clicked a switch in my mind going, there's so much money in the world. Do you think you can grab like 0.00001% of that?
I'm like, the amount of G-Wagons here, well, I'm like
3 drove past me this morning.
So many. And I'm like, these are all like 200K a pop. So I'm like, are these people like they're just throwing like $250,000 on a car. So I'm like, how much else do they have left over?
How much do you have to earn a year to throw a quarter?
Exactly. I know there's like, financing and leasing, but a lot of it isn't, you have to be earning to be able to even get financing. I know, yeah, that's another thing as well. It's like, okay, you go finance it then.
Me and my wife were walking along, and I was like, look at this street, right? 3 G-Wagons just drove by. There's a Lamborghini there. I was like, there's €1 million within 100 meters.
And
you're kind of going, wait, what? €1 million? Like, it's just mind-blowing. I find it phenomenally motivating to be in a place like this, and I think you need to come out to places like this. Yeah. Same in New York. You go there, you're like, you can't help but be recharged.
Yes.
You can't help but go, this place.
Yeah. And Joe, I hate as well when some people say, oh, it's pretentious. Like, no, you are. No, it's not.
You're intimidated by us.
Everyone's so nice here. Everyone's in a great mood because they're swimming and lifting weights and working on their business all day. I've met the nicest people out here ever.
And I put up on Instagram, I'm working in this incredible place. They're like, oh God, I'd say it's influencer central. I was like, everyone's doing their own thing and no one gives a shit.
No one's bothering you.
That's why I love it.
Yeah,
I was like, everyone's doing their own thing. Guy over there with a tripod recording his intro to his YouTube. Guy over there doing this. Girl over there doing that. Someone else is live streaming. I'm like, I absolutely love it.
Yes.
Because they're doing what they want to do. They're not like, oh, I better not get my phone out. Oh, I better not do this. Everyone needs to be a bit more like that. Give less of a shit.
Yeah.
Give less of a shit. Just be a little bit more happy. Your investments. Let's talk about that quickly before we wrap up. Yep. What do you look at for investments? You talked about it briefly with the Villa Lipsett. What else do you look at in terms of longer term investments?
Yeah. So the number one biggest investment you make will just be into yourself and starting your own business. Okay. So for example, setting up my app over the years, I've spent tens of thousands on it. Paying coaches, paying call setters and people to take my calls, just a sales team, all that, editors, all that. That's the number one investment. You'll see the biggest return on. Okay. And straight away, immediately, right? Within a week. Then in terms of like, you could say even like cameras. Okay. So all that stuff that comes in a laptop, right? Yourself, number one. Then number two, I guess my biggest investment I've made is property. Tell you some stuff after that as well, but that's going to be a great investment, or already has been. Value's gone up in it a lot because I renovated it. And then things I invest in that I don't have a clue about, but I think I'm doing the right thing, is crypto and stocks. With stocks, just S&P 500. My direct debit out of my account every month, puts it into that. Nothing much, but over time, it should be compound interest. And then with crypto, I actually got into crypto many years ago, and I would always just put a little, again, I'm not saying I'm a crypto wizard. I actually kept putting some in, did some gambles on altcoins that paid off well. I had kind of like a crypto coach tell me what to do. Sold a large portion of my Bitcoin at around the 60K mark, and then bought back in, just long-term hodler.
Same.
Long-term holder, yeah, me too.
I've never sold any Bitcoin. I bought Bitcoin every week for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
never sold.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I did during lockdown. I was like, I think when it hits 1 million, I'll sell. But isn't it mad to have that idea going, oh yeah, because it was just going up like a rocket.
Yeah,
I was like,
know, yeah.
oh, Michelle, do we sell at 1 million?
Yeah.
It's like, no, we'll sell at 10 million.
Oh, that's it. That's
But now I don't even think about it, and it's brilliant because I do the same as you. I just have a standing order into like, shares. I don't even really think about it.
Yeah.
Basic stuff. Apple, Google.
Yeah,
Stuff's going to be around for a long time.
Yeah.
Standard. And then crypto. Just over time. I just think it's a logical thing. Right, we're going to do our quick fire round. This is new edition since our last our last chat. Yeah. What book would you recommend every single entrepreneur should read?
I think Atomic Habits by James Clear, because it's not about doing one big thing. It's about doing the daily habits that will really add up over time.
I recommend that every single week. Every single week in this podcast, I talk about that.
Piece of book.
What's something you didn't pay attention enough to early on and had to learn the hard way?
Probably managing my finances correctly. I was like, put it all into the account go big, instead of putting it in the right places.
Yeah, I think that's something we all kind of do. And I think it's fear as well. I did that at the early stages of the business. I was like, I just wanted to get to a certain level that no matter what VAT bill comes in or whatever tax thing comes in, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, I was like afraid to pay people as well, like, and hire other people. Yeah, that's tough.
I think that's a good point, is that you invest in people straight away and you get the return. That was, again, a mistake I made. Yeah. What have you sacrificed to achieve your success?
I didn't go out or party or anything for 3 years. So 2014, 15, and 16, I had no money. I dropped out of college. I fired from my job, or quit, fired, quit, and the boss.
Potato.
Quit, and the boss was happy. And then just started YouTube on my phone. And so, I had like €300 in my bank account, bought like a Canon G7X. That was the biggest investment I ever made. But I just had no like disposable income. So for 3 years, I just like didn't drink, didn't go out, just made fitness content. And that was like the foundation for what I do.
I'm going to take a slight detour from the quickfire round. You've triggered something in my mind. What's monk mode?
Monk mode is when you block out all distractions. You take a period of time. 3 months is a nice amount of time. And you just focus on doing one thing. But ultimately, you actually end up getting loads done because you've cut out all these other things. Like going out is the main one that fucks people up, is drinking and other vices that makes you hungover for half the week or out of focus. So you're pretty much just, living like a monk, just training on point, diet on point, and productivity on point, and sleep on point. It's great time. Happiest time of my life.
I think it's very, very important. Yeah. It's something I think a lot of people should do a little bit more.
A lot of Irish people need to do it. Pub every weekend.
But I think that's changing. I look at like younger people around me now, like early 20s, mid 20s, they're not doing that.
No. So again, side tangent. They asked like a group of like teenagers. I don't know if this is like a legit study, but whatever. They're like, what would you rather have for breakfast? Like a full Irish fry up or an avocado toast? And most of them were like, avocado toast, ew.
Yeah.
And like, that's so funny. Like back like 10, 20 years ago, the full Irish would be a treat. Now people are like, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
And it kind of is disgusting when you look at it, like beans and like a
There's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on. I personally, if I have that in the morning, I'm written off for the day. I'm asleep.
We went to Gibraltar the other day just to look around. What a mad place.
A weird place.
Mad place.
Crazy.
Brilliant though.
Yeah,
I love going to strange places.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm like, oh, this is like been in a movie.
It's like Disneyland for Brits.
100%. And there's like thousands of coach tours coming in. I'm like, what are they doing here? Yeah. But sorry, on the cafes, on the cafes, big full English. I'm like looking at it going, whoa,
how are you getting anything done that day?
But like, I always look at it and go, the volume on the plate going into your stomach.
That's your calories done for the day. You're actually over them. Like you're actually like, if I was on a cut, that's like. It's like 3,000 calories. I'm like, that's like 2 days of eating in one meal.
But then they go next door to Starbucks and get like a frappuccino or something.
Don't get me now. This
1,200 calories. And you're like, okay, so now you're touching 4,000 or 5,000.
You don't like coffee. You like milkshakes. You're not a coffee connoisseur. You just like milkshakes.
Yeah, you like creamy, sweet stuff.
Yeah,
it's fair enough.
Exactly.
What would you do today if I give you €10 million?
I would try just improve the people around me as much as I can. So, give it to family, friends, and then I'd probably do the exact same thing every single day. That's for sure. And yeah, I would just give a lot of it to family, friends, community, and just start some cool businesses, put it into fuel cakes, and do one big mental purchase.
Go on.
Like
What?
just a crazy car and another villa. Yeah.
It's fair enough.
But I already got that.
But isn't that magic, Rob?
Yeah.
Isn't that magic to be able to say, I wouldn't change a whole lot what I'm doing now? I think that's the dream. Me and my wife talk about this a lot. Trying to create millionaire mornings and millionaire moments. We don't have to wait till you have the millions to do these things. You don't have to like move to Marbella permanently, but we could move there for 2 months.
Yeah.
You know, millionaire mornings, millionaire moments, and stack them on top of each other.
I would still just work out for hours per day and swim in the sea and go for walks and hikes.
The sea is weird here. It throws me off.
Oh, no
I get
way.
in and I'm like, it's so warm.
Yeah, I know, yeah. And it's like, I'll show you this exact spot on Google Maps. If just for whatever reason, I think it's because it's like down from a pier, the water is like crystal clear. It's like Maldives
nice.
water. I don't know why it's only in this spot, but I'll link it to you later.
Sweet. What's something important in your daily routine you wish it started sooner?
It is actually my evening routine. I guess that's daily, and it would be putting together a sleep routine. So like the phone shutting itself off automatically at like 6, 7 p.m. and winding down before bed. And one thing that helps massively, okay, what time you get into bed at, for me anyways, is going to define what time you fall asleep at. So like if you're only getting into bed at like 11 or 12, you're not going to fall asleep for a few hours. So like I actually like will get into bed at like, 10 or whatever, and have a chat with Linda, or, even read whatever you want, but just getting into bed earlier as well. And I also set an alarm clock for 9 p.m. to say like, okay, it's time to wind down.
Wow.
So it's all evening.
Do you have a set wake up time?
No, I wake up just automatically. Today I woke up at 6, didn't want to wake up at 6. I was like, oh, I don't be up for hours. But I just wake up naturally.
I think that's a key point.
yeah.
You're in bed for a certain amount of time. You're not asleep for that time, though.
No.
That's why the Whoop, I love it, because that's the honesty. You can kind of bullshit yourself and go, oh yeah, I went to bed at 10. Yeah, but you're messing around on your phone, and then you're reading, and then you're tossing and turning because it was too warm, too cold, or whatever. You probably got 5 hours sleep.
I'm worried I'm going to go down the rabbit hole if I put on with them.
Unbelievable.
Very tempted.
Talk about that over coffee.
Yeah.
I'll give you my discount code. I'm going to give you €1 million. What are you going to spend it on? It can be one person or company. So you can invest in one entrepreneur, other entrepreneur, or one company.
Well, I guess the obvious answer is, fuel cakes are game plan for myself. But if it was another company, I would say put it on Apple, because the new iPhone just launched and everyone's going crazy about it.
It's unbelievable. Every year, same but new.
I do every second year.
Same.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm due this year.
Yeah.
So I can't wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you had to start a new company in the morning, what would you do?
So I would start a service-based business, as I think you'll just get the most return from that and the most profit. But in terms of like, I already do that. So in terms of if I was to do something a bit more fun, give you an interesting answer, it would be like a really cool cafe, lounge space, like chill out space, somewhere I'd like to go to pretty much. Not a gym though, because when you own a gym, it takes away the fun of going to the gym.
I would think so.
That's what everyone says.
What do you believe that other people will strongly disagree with or find weird?
I think people are going a bit too easy on themselves, and that like the whole self-love movement isn't actually self-love. I think like, eating like shit and skipping workouts because your stress is just damaging yourself more in the long run. So I think true self-love is, treating your body like a temple, pushing yourself and having discipline.
I actually agree with that. I think we've rebounded too far the other way. Self-care is disguised as laziness.
Completely. Like some of the body positivity, I like the message behind it, like that you should love yourself at whatever stage you're at, but it doesn't mean you should stay at that stage. It's just unhealthy. There's no argument. It's bad for being obese and severely overweight is bad for everything. So there's no argument there. That's what I'll say. There's no argument. And like, yeah, I like saying like, hey, this is where I'm currently at. I'm owning it. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try get healthier for my family and my friends and my community.
That's it. I had my daughter 9 months ago. I have worked out 5-6 days a week since then. And people are like, oh, that's the end of your workouts. That's the end of your sea swims now, Gary. You'll be none of that. I'm like,
No.
Number one, I'm going to double down and prove you wrong.
Yeah.
And number two, I want to be around for her. I want to live to 120.
It's like the best thing you do for your family is look after your health.
It's an investment in everyone else. Yeah. In your personal life, what's one thing you spend money on that brings you incredible joy?
I love eating out at restaurants. Like I'm not talking about like McDonald's or Burger King or anything that shit. I love every week, me and Linda, or I was with a group of it was like 4 other couples, went to Nobu last weekend, and which is extremely expensive, of course, but it's high quality food, and the whole experience. Someone comes and serves you, someone pours you a drink, someone, a chef cooks your food, they clean up after you. Would you like dessert? Would you like anything to go with that? Would you like another whiskey sour? It's an experience.
Millionaire moment.
You people watch. You meet new people, especially if you're in a nice place. You'll meet high net worth individuals. So I love fine dining. Yeah, I love going out to like a nice, trendy restaurant, and it's expensive. It's like $300, for you and your other half. But it's not something I've ever regretted. Like, I've never gone somewhere, gone to a really fancy restaurant and said, like, the next day, like, oh, I wish I didn't go. Actually, once I went to a place called Parc Chinois in London. And it was the only time I've ever been floored by the bill. Not because like I've spent more in like a club, stupid. I've spent more in a club, but I was not expecting it. So the bill was £700 for me and Linda for a sit down meal, and they added on. So it was really nice, but it was quite small. Like, we weren't stuffed after it. And they added on a huge service charge and an entertainment charge because there was someone playing the violin in the corner. I was like there, like so far away on the opposite side of the room. And I'm like, what's this for like £80? And they're like, that's the entertainment charge. I was like, because this person's playing the violin or whatever, the trombone, wherever the fuck it was, over the corner. I was shocked. Food was amazing. Food was amazing, but it was the only time I had ever been like shocked at the bill. But it's
a good story though.
Tell me,
it's a good
now,
story.
And I again, the food was amazing. Parc Chinois in Mayfair, amazing food.
Go there.
Another funny one. This was more recently, last week. So the night I got engaged. Full celebration mode.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, and the total of the meal, it came to like 300, so it's not too bad. But I ordered the lobster. And so they came over, lobster pasta. It was the best pasta I've ever had in my life. But they came over and, I was like, so what's, it's not on the menu. You've the special of the day, lobster, right? And they're like, yes, it's €20 per 100 grams. I didn't weigh it. I was like, sure, I'll get
I've
that.
got my scales right here.
Yeah, I'm like, sure.
I'm on meal prep. I've got my scales.
I was like, give me the lobster pasta. We're celebrating tonight. And so I get it, and it was absolutely divine. But it was €120 for like one plate.
Okay.
But it was a huge plate. It was probably for 2 people. But I was like, whoa. But again, you're paying for the whole experience. This was in Capri, looking over the whole island. It was absolutely stunning. But yeah, so I had a long answer, but I spend most of my disposable income on experiences. I don't buy any like designer clothes or anything like that.
What's your final piece of advice for every entrepreneur listening?
Do something that moves the needle every single day. So I know I've mentioned it already, but it's simply my biggest piece of advice. Just something every single day that will bring you closer to that end goal. Figuring out what that end goal is. Now that is something that I don't have the answer to. You got to figure that out for yourself, but just do something every day that gets you close to it.
Love it. Rob, where can people learn more about yourself, Fuel Cakes, and everything else?
Yes, so you can just search up YouTube, Rob Lipsett, Instagram, same username on Twitter and everything across the board. Happy I got that one. And then fuelcakes.com if you want the best protein pancakes in the game, and bygameplan.com, BY Game Plan, if you want to get a custom training and nutrition plan by Game Plan.
Beautiful. Rob, thank you so much.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for having me on in my hometown and everything.
2 years, we're setting the date. We'll be back in this exact
There
spot.
we go. We'll have the next one, Bill Lipsett.
Perfect. Rob, thank you.
Owner, put it there. Smash.
Made it all the way to the end. Click here to subscribe to the channel. Click here to listen to last week's interview. We do these interviews every single week, so hit subscribe. I'll see you in a few days.